as expected, Alexander Povetkin has been dropped from the WBC heavyweight rankings. This is following his B sample testing positive, just as his A sample did for Ostrine in his latest failed drug test conducted by VADA. So Povetkin is out of the running for now. The WBC have not yet come out with any official statement as to the punishment for Alexander Povetkin, any type of ban he may incur or whatever. But I'm sure that's likely to come out within the next few days or weeks. But for now, as we can see, the WBC rankings have been updated for February and there is no Alexander Povetkin in them. So Berman Stiverne moves up to number 1 position. Luis Ortiz is in at number 2. Pulev is 3, so there's no change there in terms of the positioning of those guys relative to each other. But an interesting addition has been made at number 4. This individual was at number 9 before. He's jumped up to number 4, and that's Dillian Whyte. Now, given the fact that he's number 4 now, he is almost certainly going to be offered an eliminator. Not a final eliminator, but an eliminator. Because Stiverne and Ortiz are almost certainly going to be offered a final eliminator. Stiverne versus Ortiz to fight each other to get the mandatory position. Or it could be, this is another possibility, Stiverne and Ortiz could be offered a fight for the interim WBC heavyweight title, because that's what Stiverne and Povetkin was originally scheduled to be, for the interim heavyweight title. And if Stiverne versus Ortiz is for the interim title, correct me if I'm wrong here, there may still be a position for a mandatory challenger, because I think interim champion and mandatory challenger are 2 different things. Again, maybe I'm wrong there, but that's what I'm assuming. And if that is the case, then Pulev versus Dillian Whyte could be a final eliminator to establish a mandatory challenger, and the winner of Stiverne Ortiz would be, or could be, the interim WBC heavyweight champion. But whatever the case may be, Dillian Whyte is likely to be offered some sort of eliminator here against a high-level opponent. Now, Stiverne versus Ortiz, that's a great fight. I'd love to see it. I hope it happens. Pulev versus Dillian Whyte is also a very, very interesting heavyweight fight. And I know a lot of people want to see the Dillian Whyte-Derek Chisora rematch. But really and truly, people, Dillian Whyte would have to be a fool to turn down, if he gets offered a Pulev eliminator, he'd have to be a fool to turn down Pulev and fight Derek Chisora. And I don't think Dillian Whyte is a fool. Unless he was offered ridiculous money to fight Chisora in a rematch, then he's almost certainly going to be offered the Pulev fight if he's offered it. You know, he's certainly going to, take the Pulev fight if he's offered it. So I think, particularly given these revised rankings for February, it looks highly unlikely that the Dillian Whyte-Derek Chisora rematch will happen anytime soon. So we can forget about that. As we move down in the rankings, it's fairly unchanged. The fighters are in the same positions as they were before relative to each other. Most of them, you got Andy Ruiz in at 5, Takam 6, Duopar 7, Washington 8. I think Washington's moved up a little bit there, actually. Marius Wack 9, 10, Rudenko. You got 11, Dominic Brazil. 12, how do you even pronounce that first name? I can't pronounce his first name. Fujimoto, I guess is the surname, some Japanese heavyweight. I've never seen him. 13, Charles Martin. How on earth is Charles Martin in the WBC top 15? I'm baffled. Have you seen Charles Martin lately on social media and whatnot? This guy is not even boxing anymore as far as I'm aware. He's certainly not in any type of condition to be boxing. Mentally, as much as anything. So God knows what Charles Martin is doing in at number 13. 14, you got Eric Molina. 15, Chris Arreola. Has Arreola fought since he lost to Wilder? Why is he in the top 15? So there are some curious positionings there in terms of fighters. Why they're in the top 15, I don't know. But yeah, I would say the big news for these revised rankings is Dillian Whyte being put in at number 4. That's very, very good news for him. Opens some very, very good opportunities for him and brings a WBC world title shot, a big step closer. And also, as I say, Povetkin being dropped from the WBC top 15 and rankings altogether, which would suggest that he's probably going to be banned by the WBC, from competing for any of their titles for a particular period of time. So we'll see what happens. And Povetkin's promoter, Rabinski or Ryabinski, however you pronounce it, I'd love to hear what he's going to say now, because he's been trying to sue everybody and, sue Dan Raphael and sue Wilder and sue this one and sue that one. What, is he going to sue the WBC now? What's he going to do? The guy's a clown, man, that Rabinski guy. I'm telling you, he just talks so much rubbish. What's he going to say now? Anyway, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. And just because Povetkin gets banned by the WBC, if he gets banned by them, it don't mean he'll get banned by the other sanctioning bodies. He certainly hasn't been banned from competing in Russia. And a lot of his fights, if not most of his fights, tend to be in Russia these days anyway. So you have to bear that in mind. But the WBC seem likely to ban him. Let me know how you feel, people. It's happening. I'm out.